Hello, friends. We're back for more Skyrim if it would appear on the screen. Oh, thank God. I've had some technical issues getting the stream running. But here we are at Septimus Cygnus's outpost. I actually do kind of enjoy this part of the story. I think it's relatively interesting for a Bethesda game, though I do wish the surrounding area was filled with something that wasn't nothing. That would be cool. Hello, Goober. Welcome to the chat. I hope more people funnel in here, because there actually is a vote that I would like you guys to hold. I'm sure you guys won't fuck me over at all. It'll be great. It'll be good. There's the boy. There's the boy. Let's get down there. Hello, Septimus.
No more could be placed. It was and is the maximum apex.
Yeah, his thing is that he's insane. Alright, let's...
Trust Septimus.
Alright.
He knows you can know.
Transcribe the lexicon. Okay. Next objective. Now, if I recall, there is a portion of the story that is going to require us to sacrifice a Daedric artifact in order to continue the story. And I believe we may get to it this episode. I might just be thinking of a much more interesting quest in general, but you guys are welcome to dispute that. I will allow the chat to vote on which Daedric artifact I go for. I'm pretty sure that's Oblivion. Am I thinking of Oblivion? Am I thinking of Oblivion that makes me get rid of an item? I'm just thinking of better Bethesda games with better quests, aren't I? I'm definitely just thinking of more interesting quest lines, aren't I? That's such a bummer. I mean, I guess we could theory craft which one is worth getting rid of. Most people just tend to go for Azura's Star. Azura's Star is usually what people will get rid of, if only because it's the first one the game will tell you about. The game will always... I mean, Oblivion and Skyrim are both this way. They both tell you that Azura exists pretty much straight out right. Azura is considered one of the good Daedra. I say that with air quotes because none of the Daedric princes are actually good. There's just ones that are more willing to work with mortals in a more friendly capacity. Mehrunes Dagon, he's all about just killing everything indiscriminately. Azura is a little more interesting and will allow people to work with her, so... Oblivion stream win. Oh, jeez. I guess I am thinking of another game. Jesus. I'm kind of bummed out. I was gonna have you guys vote. It was gonna be real cool. Why won't Skyrim let me do cool things without modding it to shit? You know what I mean? Dumpy's horse. Okay, I'm here. I just gotta get in. I remember this place. The entrance is like hanging off the wall, I'm pretty sure. That one Khajiit ring is the one I usually go for because I don't vibe with the ring. What ring is that? Is that Sheogorath's ring? Who gives you that ring? Is that Clavicus? No, because he always gives you the mask in every game. Is it Sheogorath that gives you the Khajiit ring? Because they just like could not think of a thing to give him for whatever reason. As if Sheogorath doesn't have like 800 fucking magical doodads associated with him. The fact that this game doesn't have the Fork of Horripilation... Skyrim doesn't have that, does it? Is the Fork of Horripilation in this game? Or am I going crazy? Haha. You know, because Sheogorath. Am I just insane? I think the Fork is in this game, but it's not. It's definitely not the reward you get for doing his mission, is it? Oblivion stream when? Oh god, I keep reading that comment. When I was a kid... I told myself that maybe someday, if I do Let's Plays, I'll do a Let's Play of Oblivion, because that was my favorite game in the whole wide world when I was a young lad. Well, Paper Mario 2 was my favorite game of all time. But Oblivion definitely had more hours than any other game in my library, that's for sure. And then I remember when I was a kid, I looked up a Let's Play of Oblivion. This was back when not every fucking YouTuber in the universe had a Let's Play channel, so it was kind of like rare to find Let's Plays of games that were not Call of Duty. And goddamn, that Let's Play for Oblivion was like 80 episodes long. And he had barely done anything. Like, he had accomplished basically nothing. Because he was just wandering around, like, exploring, having fun. I don't mean to, like, shit on him. You know, he didn't accomplish anything story-wise because his objective was to have fun. So he was just doing everything else. And I was like, god damn. I don't know if I could do that. Could I invest that much time? Jeez. The Ring of the Khajiit is from the Meridia quest. Oh. God, they just really don't know what to do with Meridia, do they? Meridia, ironically, she gets too much character development in the MMO, in the Elder Scrolls Online. Meridia is so just ass-numbingly boring. I think I talked about this like 2 streams ago. She's just really boring, but she has a really interesting like Daedric realm called the Colored Rooms, which, if I recall, is just a bunch of like mirrors. Her realm is just like a bunch of mirrors with different colors in them. Fun fact about colors, by the way. More a fun fact about just a singular color. Research notes. I'll just go in blind. Dumpy's just a little baby who steals. He doesn't understand the concept of reading. Oh, well, you know what? Maybe I will have to read if I want to open that door. Uh-oh. Let's keep going. A fun fact about colors. The human eye, it's hard to explain this. The human eye can't really perceive the color purple. It's not really a color that exists, like, in a normal spectrum. So our brain just kind of, like, pieces together the color purple using the idea of what it thinks other colors are, you know? Like, it has a pretty good idea of what red and blue and green are. Like, our brains are like, yeah, dude, I vibe with those colors. I vibe real hard on those colors. But purple it doesn't really understand, so it's just an illusion. Yeah, that's a perfect word for it, Phoenix. It's just an illusion of a color. Our brain cannot perceive it correctly, which is kind of interesting. What's funny is that in Morrowind, the Khajiit ring is Mephal's artifact. Why? Huh. I will say this. It feels like... It genuinely feels like until... I want to say Oblivion. Maybe even Elder Scrolls Online. They really didn't have a good idea of what all of the Daedric princes really were. Like, if you look at... Please, just murder this one spider, thank you. If you look at... Sheogorath, I think, is the most egregious example. Well, I shouldn't use the word egregious, but more intense. A lot of people really don't like what modern-day Sheogorath is. He's just kind of wacky and silly and insane. He used to be like a businessman, offering you insane options, you know? Like, he would make deals with you, but they kind of changed that because there's no need for a character who operates that way when there's already a prince that's literally called the Prince of Deals, you know? Like, Clavicus Vile is the Prince of Deals, and there is no reason for another to exist, so... Sheogorath, being the god of madness, was cranked up a bit to compensate. Out of the Defender. Yeah, you know, I'd probably know why that guy was here if I read journals or whatever, but Dumpy can't read. He's just a fucking baby, dude. Babies don't know how to read. That's a fun fact for all of you guys. I'm a lot more similar to a baby than I am a man, because, I don't know how to read either. Everyone knows that. Anyone who's come to one of my streams knows flat out, Tony doesn't know how to read. That's a fact. Is everything just an illusion at the end of the day? No, Capra, it isn't. My love for all of you isn't an illusion. That's a tangible thing that exists, and you don't have to bend reality to know that's true. Oh god, please. Please save me. Oh Jesus, they look so big and scary. Oh, what am I gonna do when I have to fight a Colossus? That's gonna be a problem. I don't know if I can survive taking more than like 1 or 2 hits from them. They're kind of easy to dodge, but the thing is that I'm so slow that I genuinely don't know if I can beat one. Like, if I can tank a hit, you know what I mean? Ooh, Dwarven bolts. I forgot these guys drop, crossbow bolts now, so I should probably loot those. Oh, jeez. Always go left. There we go. Left looks like it has some fun little loot here. What do we got? Have I mentioned how much I love the Dwemer? I absolutely adore the Dwemer and everything about them. I think they're so interesting and so neat. I really just... I like the idea that they all just disappeared at once, because they were... You ever see that meme of the flag that says, "Don't tread on me"? Except it's a picture of a crocodile and it says, "Fuck around and find out." That's just what the Dwemer are as an entity. They just decided to fuck around. Why did Barbas attack Thonir? That was strange. My group is starting to have infighting, and that's not good. Jeez. I want to get on the table, but I'm stuck. I will say this, I really do not like the design of the Dwarven spiders in Skyrim. I think the Dwemer spiders just look kind of stupid in this game. I think the Centurion design is top-notch. I think they knocked it out of the park with the Centurion, like the Colossus designs. I think the little spheres, I think the sphere design, they knocked it out of the park too. I think the spiders needed some work. They're kind of too round, a little too organic looking, I think. Not very Dwemer. Dwemer kind of rely on a lot of hard angles in their, like, embellishments, you know? Lots of straight lines. Really, the curvature is more on, like, piping and stuff like this. I don't know. The spheres are just too soft and round, I feel. Ooh, a lock. Don't mind if I do. Come on. Hey. What do we got in here? Chest. Ooh, don't mind if I do. Perfect on the first try. Ring of Magicka, yes please. Ooh, an adept one. Oh. There's that sweet spot. There it is. Okay, some of you are wondering. I guess if you watch this video later, you're not gonna. It's not gonna matter to you. But if you're in the stream right now, if you guys are wondering why I started the stream a little later than when I said I would, it's because I got my vaccine today. I got my COVID-19 vaccine, the first dose of it, and I don't know what that shit knocked me out. I got home and I was like, yeah, dude, gonna stream so fucking hard, dude. No one's gonna know what hit him, and then bam, I fell asleep. I straight up just fell asleep, and then I woke up, and it was 4. I was gonna stream at 5, and I woke up, it was like 4:50 something. I was like, oh fuck, I gotta start the Skyrim stream. And then my fucking recording software was just not having it. It just did not want to turn on and work. So I had to fiddle with it for another like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, however long it took me for it to fucking work. What I'm getting at is take your vaccines, boys and girls. If you have some sort of immune compromised problem, like me being a type 1 diabetic, you can already get your vaccines in most states in the United States. I don't know how it's going on over there in Europe. If you're in the States, you know, certain places are giving everybody. It's opening up to everybody after a certain time. Here, where I live, it's May 1st. You should probably figure out where it is you live so you can get that tasty vaccine. Why does OBS hate you, Tony? OBS just updated recently, and when OBS updates... Oh god, they're just walking into all the traps. And by they, I mean Thonir. Thonir is just like a magnet for death. Am I the only one that likes when Tony talks about the lore of Elder Scrolls? I hope that you like it, because Lord knows I can talk about it for ages. If anyone tries to tell you that they know everything about Elder Scrolls lore, they're fucking lying to you, because there's so much of it. Keep in mind that anything I tell you is only a fraction of what there is, because these are multiple games, and a fucking MMO that has multiple people working on it. and there's so much information added from so many different writers over time that there's just no way I could absorb all of it. I wish I could, but I can't. I'm kind of just hyper-focused on the Dwemer and how they function, how they work, how their contraptions fit together, stuff like that. I'm very hyper-interested in that particular race. Like, if you ask me to tell you literally anything about Dark Elves, I cannot answer your questions because I don't give a shit about them. I mean, granted, they are definitively, of the big three elves, the Wood Elves, the High Elves, and the Dark Elves. The Dark Elves are the most interesting, and I like them the most. But God, do not ask me to talk about the Wood Elves. I mean, God, they are just boring. They're just tree elves. They have one interesting thing, and that is that they have this capital city. This, like, big city. And it's built in a tree. And it's called the Living Tree. It's a tree that's physically alive. And the tree itself just walks around. Just everywhere. Just meanders. And every, like, I think it's 1,000 years or so. 500, 100 years. Some, like, you know, standard amount of years. It will just stop walking, and then it needs to take a nap, so it just sits down wherever it is. It doesn't care where it's sitting. Like, it's not really going anywhere in particular. It just meanders around until it's tired and then sleeps. So the capital city of the Wood Elves is just constantly moving all the time. And that, I think, is funny. It works out for them because coding that into an MMO would be particularly difficult, so they can just give the excuse, oh, the tree is sleeping. It's just sleeping right now, so... So we don't have to animate this city moving around and have that register for like 800 people's computers. I think I'm small enough that I can actually just kind of go around it, but I'm not going to risk it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, jeez. What about the underground elves? Oh, the snow elves are cool too, but they don't really count. The snow elves don't really count because they don't really exist. You guys want to know about the snow elves? I'll talk about them if you want. I don't know everything about them, obviously, because elves are not my area of expertise. Besides the deep elves, the Dwemer are called the deep elves. That's another name for them. But the snow elves were actually a race of elves native to Skyrim, and they kind of got into a war with the first Nords, right? So SKYRIM came over from Atmora, and when he landed there with the first, I guess you could call them the first Nords, the Nords were like, hey, we live here now. Give us your land. And the Snow Elves were like, we don't really want to do that. Could you leave? And they're like, no, no, we live here now. Give us all your land right now. We will murder you. And they're like, bro, we're elves. You can't kill us. Humans can't kill elves. That's illegal. And SKYRIM took out his big fat axe, dropped that on the table. Then he whipped out his fat cock, dropped that on the table next to the axe. Could you believe it? It was actually 2 times bigger than the axe itself. I certainly could believe it. And then he said, well, I guess it's death then. At which point, my boy SKYRIM basically genocided all the elves at one point. We're gonna leave this behind. Store that there. So he began genociding all of the snow elves, and guess what? He could not successfully genocide the Dwemer, who also live here, obviously. Because SKYRIM rolled up to the Dwemer's house, and the Dwemer came out with their guns and robots and said, turn right the fuck around, you disgusting snowman, or I will shoot you. And SKYRIM was like, listen, my cock's not big enough to fight a gun. So he turned around and continued to thwack the snow elves with his fat cock, until eventually the snow elves, in a bit of desperation, went to the Dwemer, and were like, hey, can we have like some elf unity for like 5 minutes? Could we live with you? Like, we're having a bad time. We're really fucked right now. Like, we're having a bad time. And the snow elves, you know, got on their knees and begged the Dwemer to let them in. And the Dwemer were like, yeah, dude. Nah, no problem. Come in. You guys can come in. There's just a few rules that you gotta follow. Just some like really basic stuff. right? So you're only going to eat this. First of all, welcome to our kingdom. You're all slaves now. Thank you for coming. Second of all, you guys can only eat these mushrooms. Don't ask why. Just eat the mushrooms. Just eat them. Just eat them. Put them in your mouth. So the snow elves began eating these mushrooms, and basically being slaves to the Dwemer. The Dwemer operate on a sort of logic-based thinking where they don't really care. They work on the thinking of the ends will always justify the means, meaning that they don't care if they have to murder people, as long as it doesn't interfere with the Dwemer living. They won't fuck with their own kind, but they will do anything to any other race and do not care. And as long as it results in an interesting experiment or a new development, they do not care what's happening. So their usage of the snow elves as slaves was totally not weird. They did not care at all. They just used them and fed them these mushrooms for basically a few things. The mushrooms turned the snow elves into basically snow goblins. It made them blind. First of all, it completely blinded them. I believe part of the experiment was to see, hey bro, if we'd feed these mushrooms to people, will it make them blind? The answer was yes. The answer was yes. The biggest brain deep elf in the kingdom decided that that was the best move for the snow elves. Like, let's get all these slaves and then take their sight away. So they made the snow elves blind and then turned them into basically goblins. They became... Their bodies got all fucked up. We'll actually see some of them here. They became the Falmer, essentially. And the Falmer were kind of driven into the caves where they worked, you know, where they were mining for the Dwemer. It's all they know, really. They only know the underground. Their bodies became adjusted to having no light of any kind, because the Dwemer did not provide them with light, despite owning flashlights. They did not give them to them. So that happened. Open this up. So that's what happened to the Falmer. The Snow Elves became the Falmer, essentially. And this dungeon has some Falmer in it. I think they're going to be down there, maybe. Oh, jeez. What's the easiest way to get through here? So, you guys can see what they look like, because I don't think we've actually fought too many Falmer on the stream. I don't know if we fought any at all. Maybe like once or twice. So I'll give you guys a good look. Oh, there we go. There we go. The Snow Elves on their knees, now eye level with the Dwemer. Funny enough, the Dwemer are actually very tall. That's another misconception. They're called dwarves, which leads people to believe that they were incredibly small, which is not true. They were actually very tall, even by elf standards. They were, I think, slightly smaller than a high elf, but obviously taller than a wood elf. Let's see here. There we go. The misconception as to why they're called dwarves is because they were named by giants, if you could believe that. That's the meme answer. I don't know if that's actually true. It's one of those things in the lore where it's like, it could be true, and people just kind of believe it because we don't really have another answer. So, the kind of fun, jokey answer is they're called that because the giants named them, and obviously giants are fucking huge. I think your average Dwemer was probably like a good 7 or 8 feet tall, honestly. Maybe like minimum 6'5". Because elves are pretty tall, just by virtue of being elves. It's all that testosterone that they don't use for muscles. They just put straight into they put it straight into their height and nothing else. They're kind of built like string beans, the elves. I don't think there's a single elf in the Elder Scrolls who is built like... Actually, that's not true, because technically the orcs are classified as elves. The orcs are kind of weird, actually. They don't really fit any sort of classification, which is interesting. Ooh, an expert gate. Okay. My inventory situation is not good. I need to find, like, multiple vendors. That's my problem. Because I can't sell to one vendor Because then I run out of space. Like, he runs out of gold. Ooh, the locked room. Nice. Lockpicking. That's a good reward. Ooh, a master. Jeez. Okay. Ooh, okay. That wasn't bad. It was actually pretty good. Shit, that one was closer though. That wasn't bad at all. Fuck. I can do it, I can do it. Shit, I was so close. I needed to go slightly to the left. So I think right about here. Shit. Come on, I got it. I got it. Fuck. Okay. Alright. The giants used to be smart, and the fan theory is the giants called them dwarves, and as revenge for their hurt feelings, the Dwemer did something to the giants to make them less smart. Maybe they fed them a bunch of poisonous mushrooms, and then instead of going blind, they just became really dumb. Which is another side effect of becoming a Falmer. You become incredibly fucking dumb. They're very simple creatures. They operate entirely through hearing, because obviously they're blind. I don't even think they have eyes. If they do, they're super small, like little dots on their faces. And they just kind of just indiscriminately eat and kill whatever, because they don't really have brains that work. Oink. Let's see here. So here's another... Now that we've encountered an orc, I can give you guys some orc fun facts. So orcs are technically classified as elves, and funny enough, they do not have a capital, if you can believe that. You'll notice that most orcs are kind of, you know, strewn around in these like little dwarven strongholds, but they don't seem to have like a big city that they ever talk about or reference. And that is because the orcs just have the worst place in the universe to live. The orcs live, technically... Oh god, that's a Falmer right there. The orcs live in a place called Hrothgar. And Hrothgar is this icy zone smack dab in between Skyrim and where the Bretons live. And it suffers for multiple reasons, because the orcs obviously live there for the most part, but they're not the only people who live there. Hrothgar is inhabited by both the Bretons, the Nords, and the Reachmen, who are a faction in and of themselves, and all of them lay claim to this area. They all believe that it's owned by them. So it is a place... It's not like Cyrodiil, where Cyrodiil is definitively owned by the Imperials, or like the Alakir Desert, which is entirely made up of Redguards. Hrothgar, because it's owned by so many different factions, and none of them want to get along, they are constantly warring. Now, here's the worst part. The orcs themselves do not really believe in the concept of a king or government. So, the only way that an orc can sort of become king is to, first of all, build a city. Because what ends up happening is that the orcs will fight amongst themselves until they eventually destroy their own capital. Like, here's what they'll do. They'll team up. They'll shove all the other races out of Hrothgar. Then they'll be like, well, we got nothing left to fight. And then they'll just fight each other until their capital city is burnt to the ground. This has happened multiple times. Off the top of my head, I can think of 3 different Hrothgars. Hrothgar's the name of the place. The capitals are usually called Orsinium. There's been like 3 different versions of Orsinium, all in completely different locations. And genuinely, they just break it. They break it. They break their own toys where they live. Very dumb. Very dumb boys, the orcs. So, first of all, if you want to be king, you have to build your own Orsinium, which is incredibly difficult, because getting enough orcs together to build a capital that will then house, like, 5 times the amount of orcs you already have is hard. So once that's happened, you then need to go around and talk to all the... you need to talk to all the orc chiefs and be like, hey, want to come live in my super dope big place, like my big house, to which the chieftains will always respond, "Go fuck yourself, my guy. I want to live in my stinky little longhouse. I don't need you, okay? We don't need to... Toilets? What the fuck? Are you... What are you, a pussy-ass baby? Barbas, please, please. Barbas. Right? Like, so the chieftains always say no, and then what ends up happening is this. The orc will have to dominate all the other orcs, meaning it's then a war to just kill the other chieftains and take over their clans. That will inevitably happen, and then that orc will be king. He will be the king of Orsinium for a short period of time until... Uh-oh. Stinky! They don't understand the concept of governments, and more importantly, they don't understand the concept of society. They have clans that they follow, and that is what they are completely loyal to. Meaning that once they've dominated that clan, the clan will obviously fall in line for a few years, but then one or two stray people from the clan will remember, "Oh, I remember the good days when our clan was strong, but now we live in behind these big walls where it's safe, and that's for stinky babies. And we're gonna go out and make our own clan with hookers and blackjack." So they'll leave. But the king obviously won't want them to leave, so then it just becomes another war, and uh-oh, then they all just kill each other again. And then Orsinium burns to the ground, and they're out of a capital again. Again. They're just himbos. They're just big, stupid himbos. They're just aggressive himbos, really. Very, very dumb orcs. They're just the ultimate anarchists, which is why they can't really survive outside of their small groups. Can you really blame them, though? Can you really blame them? I mean, from a design standpoint, they are designed to just be mindless, raging beasts. And I know that sounds kind of racy, you know? Like, oh, you can't say that. You can't say that an entire race in the Elder Scrolls is built that way. Except, yeah, I can, dude. Yeah, I can. From a design standpoint, the orcs are they have like orc rage. They just get mad super easy. That's not like a cultural thing. That's like hard coded into their DNA. In much the same way that a high elf is incredibly gifted in magic, or a dark elf has a deep connection to his heritage and to his spirits, which allows him to interact with his ancestor spirits in a way that an Imperial perhaps could not. The orcs themselves are hard-coded to be always mad all the time. They are the U.S. Kirby box art of the Elder Scrolls world, which is so unfortunate when they're trying to do things like parlay with neighboring societies. It just doesn't work out for them. They just have a bad time. I love when the Elder Scrolls has intellectual and polite orcs. I know, because they always begin their dialogue tree with, "Hi, my name is Gromash Grobabash, and I do not want to kill you. I like reading books, my dude. I love books so much, my guy. But like, my brother, he'll murder you. He'll murder you if you even look at him funny. Don't look at him. Pretend you're blind, is what I'm telling you. But me, I just love a good book, my guy. I just got this new manga called The Lusty Argonian Maid, and my dude, I'm not gonna lie, the story is off the charts good. I don't know if you swing that way. I'm definitely not sexist. Gromash Gorbabash, I'm definitely not, you know, love me some gays. So in case you're gay, my dude, I also have this sultry Argonian warrior. Where the sultry is it the sultry Argonian bard? That's the male counterpart to the maid. Maybe it's butler. I don't recall, but there is a male version, which I think is funny. So I would presume that he would probably give you that, because, you know, he's such a cool guy. Nightshade, I do ooh, lockpicks, thank you. I like when I'm on a table because I'm completely out of reach from Barbas, don't do this to me. I was free from you for 2 seconds, please. Did orcs even exist when the Dwemer were knocking around? They were, like, created at some point. Yeah, orcs have been around for a while. They have, like, a really complicated upbringing that I don't fully remember or understand. It has something to do with certain gods making deals with Dwemer princes and then betraying those princes, and that causing an entire group to just exist. It's very complex, and I don't really... It has something to do with, I think, a guy named Trinimac. I don't know. The orcs worship just different sort of strong orcs, you know? So I don't really fully understand it, in all honesty. Yeah, the bard. That's it. Oh, God. Oh, big spider. Never mind, that's fine. I can fight a big spider. Get him, go. Get him. Damn, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. The royal banker over here, he's doing good stuff. Those double swords are coming in handy. He's doing great work. He's got enchantments on his swords, and I don't think they run out because he's a quest NPC. So, I think they're probably draining health or stamina, something like that. Something super useful. Yeah, there's a lot going on with the orcs. There's a couple implications. I'll give you guys some more lore. You guys always tell me that you like when I just babble on about random lore. And mostly we're just getting to the bottom of this dungeon, but there is some evidence to the concept that the Argonians are... I don't think alien is quite the right word, but the Argonians as a species are kind of Cthulhu-esque as a people. So there's like a plane of existence that the Argonians can sort of enter that nobody else can. It has to do with the Hist, the big magic trees that most Argonians are connected to. Not all, but most of them are. And the Hist is this magic tree that kind of serves as a central point for an Argonian hive mind. All of the Hists can kind of communicate with each other, but a Hist can only really exert control over the Argonians related to it. So let's say one village has one Hist tree, and another village has has another Hist tree, right? That's two separate trees, two separate villages. The villagers will respond to the one tree associated to them, to my understanding, though those trees can themselves communicate with each other. So it's like a one centralized hive mind, but divided into segmented parts to make up that one hive mind. Okay. So the lizards are connected to the Hist, and the Hist itself sort of has its own dreamlike realm. And there was a period of time where a group of high elves were particularly interested in accessing this realm. Because they realized that this realm, because there's so many histories everywhere, they could potentially enter it and then sort of teleport around the world through these trees. And they thought that would be a neat idea. They didn't have any concept of what the fuck they were messing with, because high elves think they know everything. So first they needed to figure out how to get in. They needed to figure out how to get in, how the Argonians themselves are controlled, and how they function as a people. So what they began doing is going over to the Argonian Black Marsh and just abducting them in large numbers. So they started doing that, and they would bring them back for dissection. And obviously, the high elves are no stranger to dissecting things they don't understand. They will grab other species and cut them open. They do not care. Elves just seem to do that. Humans in the Elder Scrolls tend to not care about things like the innards of their companions or enemies. The elves are particularly interested with them. The wood elves are cannibals and eat their enemies for meat. Eat their friends for meat too. They don't care. The high elves will dissect people to discover things that, you know, it's sort of a basic level science to figure out what's going on inside. Upon cutting open the Argonians, they were confused as to what they found. They had no idea what they were looking at. The Argonians' innards were connected in ways that they had no concept of understanding. Like, they would maybe have a lung that's in their foot, And most of the Argonians were completely unique and different, seemingly serving a singular purpose. Each Argonian not really fitting a singular mold. Of course, they would have, you know, gender specific. They'd have dicks and vaginas and boobs. They would have butts. They would have, you know, because they're shaped like everyone else. They you know, they didn't really fit a singular mold, is what I'm getting at. But they did fit the shape of a person, just not in quite the way that the High Elves could understand. So upon doing that, upon looking into them and not understanding what was happening, they went back to the drawing board and could not figure out what the fuck to do. Because they were not getting anywhere messing with the innards of the Argonians. They needed to figure out something else, and that was their objective. If I recall, they inevitably went to fucking with the trees themselves, which is bad. Oh. Uh-oh. People are fighting, and I accidentally fell. What is happening here? These two people are fighting. We're fighting them. Hey, my dude. Just let him do that. Down they go. Who the fuck were you guys? Sword of Shocks? I don't care about that. I don't care about any of that either. Oh, a master lock. That's okay. I have the key for that. There we go. Open Skyrim. Yeah, so they started fucking with the trees, which is bad. If there's one thing about the Elder Scrolls... Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, this is bad. Uh-oh. Stinky, they're stuck. Oh, no. Oh, no, they're stuck. My beautiful boys. You guys want to know what happened? Okay, so some of these elevators are shortcuts into Dwemer dungeons. And the only way to get in is to go through the dungeon and then come up topside to the elevators, and then you hit the buttons and the doors will open. But because I have so many NPCs, it pushed me away from where I would normally spawn in. So, oopsie. Barbas got out. Barbas just forced his way through, because he's a cutie boy. God, that's just terrible. Where's my last quick save? Oh, it's fine. It's fine. We're at the end of the stream. If you guys remind me next time, I'll talk about the Argonian trees, the Hist, if you would like. I can tell you about how... Oh, Thonir came out. Good for him. He did it. He did it. Remind me and I'll talk about the trees. I'll talk about any Elder Scrolls stuff you want. Just throw me some questions sometimes. And I'll read the chat and talk about it. We need to get back into this fucking dungeon. God damn. I'm going to have to go through this again to get through here. Get away from me, he says. Don't be mad. Don't be mad, Thonir, baby. I hope you guys had a good time. I will see you on the next episode, and have a great rest of your night.